Hello everybody, it's Michelle Salo, the health coach. Somebody just jumped on. I'm gonna wait a few minutes to see if we get a couple more people to jump on the live, and we're going to be talking about some weird vegetables nobody eats but me and probably Asian people. But I think you're gonna find it fun to learn about some of these different vegetables. So hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can't, let me know. All right, I got a thumbs up. Great. I forgot to actually plug in my boom mic, so I don't have that going on. Yes. Okay, great. So give me 1 second. I need to find a little mic somewhere. I have one. Okay. Michelle Sala. I'm an integrative health coach and true cellular detox practitioner, and I love educating my clients about healthy food. And we all get tired of eating the same old thing. So I have 8 vegetables here that most people never eat except for me. And I'm going to give you some tips on why they're healthy and why you should be eating them and how to make them. So where should I begin? I am going to start with something sort of normal. Do you guys know what a bok choy is? It's in the cabbage family. It has a much milder flavor than cabbage. Sometimes you'll find it in the stores much bigger. This part will be really white, and this part might be really dark green. There's baby bok choy, junior bok choy, and then the big one. What I like to do is cut off the tough part on the bottom, and then I chop up the main part here. And I cut up the leaves separately because they cook a lot quicker. So I will use this in a stir fry, and then I won't add the chopped leaves until the very end because it's gonna take this harder part a lot longer. So it has a mild flavor. You can pair it with things like peppers and carrots and onions and garlic. It has a really nice texture. If you don't like cabbagey taste, which is kind of strong, it doesn't have that flavor. It's a much cleaner flavor. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's high in magnesium. It's high in vitamin C. And it's just a great way to have something different because we get tired. We tend to eat the same things: broccoli, cabbage, carrots. Especially here in Utah, don't find a lot of variety. I don't have access to the variety I used to have at the farmers markets in California. So, number 1, bok choy. And unfortunately, I'm a little too far from the camera, so I can't read what's coming in right now. And so if you have any questions, put them in the comments and I will be happy to answer your questions after the live. Okay, so the next vegetable is celeriac or celery root. Can you see like the little baby celery stuff here on the top? So this is, if it were to continue to grow, this would be big celery stalks. And I love this because you can, if you're on a low carb diet and you're really missing like mashed potatoes, you can sub this for mashed potatoes. And you pretty much can find this at any grocery store. I actually found it at Winco, which is kind of a junky grocery store here. Sorry, Winco. You want to peel off this thicker outer kind of the root, and then on the inside you have a nice creamy white, and you can do it just like potatoes. So cut it up in chunks. You want to have acidulated water, which means some cold water with some lemon juice, or you could even use some white vinegar if you don't have a lemon hanging around. And while you're cutting it up into chunks, you want to put it in your acidulated water because it will start turning brown right away. And then you just boil it on the stove like you would potatoes, and then mash it or puree it afterwards. It's also really tasty raw. You can shred it and put it in a salad. It has a really nice, clean flavor, and of course it's reminiscent of celery, but it has a much different texture than celery stalks. So celeriac, I really like celeriac. It's great for a change of pace. And especially if, like I said, if you're eating keto and low carb and you're missing mashed potatoes, this is the perfect substitute. Okay, next we have artichokes. Now, pretty much everybody knows what an artichoke is, but they're afraid to make them themselves. So I have been eating artichokes since I was born. I come from a half Sicilian family, off the boat Sicilian types, and so artichokes have never been foreign to me. One whole artichoke has so much fiber and so little calories that by the time if you were to eat the entire artichoke by yourself, it would be like negative calories because of the amount of energy your body needs to digest all that fiber. So a couple of options for cooking artichokes is you cut off the stem, you cut off the first maybe inch of the artichoke, and then I get a scissors and I clip any of these spiky things. And you can boil them in, maybe put about an inch of water in a saucepan. It probably takes 45 minutes to close to an hour. It depends on how fresh they are. But I like doing it in the Instant Pot. It takes about 15 minutes, I think. It takes a little longer here in Utah at altitude than it did when I was in California. There's recipes online where if you want to know how to do it in an Instant Pot. Then after I cut off the top, I kind of spread out the leaves, and I'll sprinkle crushed garlic, salt and pepper. I'll squeeze a lemon because like the celeriac, it'll start turning brown. And then I drizzle some olive oil before I put it in my steamer pot. So artichokes, super high in fiber. They're high in prebiotic fiber, which helps to feed your good gut bacteria, because if your gut bacteria doesn't have the proper food, it's not going to grow. So that is an artichoke. Don't be afraid. Oh, the other option is you can slice them in half or quarters, depending on how big they are. And then you scoop out the choke, which is the fuzzy stuff on the inside. Is pretty obvious. And you can put some olive oil, garlic, and salt and pepper, and then bake them face down in the oven with covered with some foil, and that's an easy way to make them as well. So there you go, you've got an artichoke. Okay, so another choke, these are sunchokes, or also they're known as Jerusalem artichokes, but they're not in the same family. So sunchokes are in the sunflower family, and artichokes are in the thistle family. Sunchokes are also referred to as fartichokes, because if your gut bacteria is out of whack, and because they have so much prebiotic fiber, they will make you fart. I don't have that problem. And if you do have that problem when you eat them, come see me, because you need help with your gut bacteria. So they are a root vegetable, and you don't have to peel them. They're kind of knobby looking, kind of like a oversized ginger root. And you just really need to cut off any dark little ends. You want to make sure you rinse them to get all the dirt off. And then I cut them up in chunks like potatoes, and I will roast them in the air fryer, or you can roast them in the oven, and you just toss them with salt and pepper and olive oil. just like you would make any kind of roasted potato. They kind of are more reminiscent of like fingerling potatoes. And again, if you're on a low carb diet and you're missing potato-y stuff, this is a great substitute. In my air fryer, they take about 10 minutes at 375. If you cook them in the regular oven, they take more like 35-40 minutes. So I love the air fryer. It really saves a lot of time. So I used to be able to find these at Trader Joe's a couple years ago, and also Sprouts used to carry them when I first moved here, and then they stopped carrying them. So I get them at the Asian market. The Asian market is amazing for weird vegetables that you can't find at other places. So don't forget about sunchokes. Just cut them up in even sized pieces, just like you would if you were roasting potatoes, so that they cook evenly. So I love sunchokes. You can also eat them raw, and you still don't have to peel them. You can shred them, you can slice them and put them in a salad, and they have a nice crisp flavor. Sunchokes. Okay, so the next thing I've got is fennel. Nobody knows what fennel is. And you might see it in the store, but nobody ever buys it. So fennel is where licorice gets its flavor. But even if you hate licorice, don't not try it. So I love it raw, or you can bake it or saute it in a stir fry. When my sister and I went to Italy a long time ago, we learned how to make a gratin with it. And you cut off the fronds, and then you slice it in about 1/4 inch pieces, and then overlap it in a baking dish, and salt and pepper, and a pat of butter and cream, and some grated Parmesan or Romano cheese, and you bake it in the oven until they're tender, and they're so good with roasted meat. But they're also really delicious if you just eat them raw, and I like to salt them first. If I feel like I'm hungry and I just need to like shove food in my mouth because have like some nervous eating thing going on, I'll eat fennel, and there's so much fiber in it that you'll get full before you can do any damage. And it has a really clean flavor, and it's also really good for settling your stomach. But I love fennel, so try fennel. Trader Joe's sells 2 bulbs in a package, so you don't have the green fronds with it. But if you're just using it for like a gratin or to eat raw or to saute, that's fine. And I think it's like maybe $3.50 or something for 2. That's a good price. I think I paid like $1.99 I think I got it at Winco for the 1. But if there's certain dishes that you would want those top part, the fronds, to chop up and put it in, like there's a Sicilian dish that I make sometimes called pasta con sarde, and there's some other Sicilian dishes that you utilize the fronds. So that is fennel bulb. And again, it's high in fiber, it's high in vitamin C, high in minerals, and very low carb, and really delicious and something different. Okay, let me make a little space here. So the next thing I have is mustard greens. So there's different kinds of mustard greens, and this is the most common that you'll find in the grocery store. If you don't find it at a regular store, you'll often find it at an Asian market or a Mexican market. And the leaves here, if you can kind of see it a little bit better, the leaves are really spicy and peppery. And you can use them either raw or cooked. So if I were to cook them in a stir fry, I would cut them up, I would chop them up or tear them up into bite-sized pieces, and I would add them, probably it would be great with bok choy and maybe some peppers and onions. It would be really tasty. I also like making pesto with it, and pesto, mustard leaf pesto is really delicious. You can also eat it raw, and because the flavor is so strong, you could tear up a few pieces and put it in your regular salad, and it would give it a little oomph. So I love mustard greens. There are really, all of these have a lot of anti-cancer properties in them. So that's why I love these vegetables, and you should incorporate them into your diet. Okay, so that's mustard greens. The next one is kohlrabi. And I wasn't introduced to kohlrabi until maybe about 10, 12 years ago, and had no idea what you did with them and how you ate them. Apparently German people like them. And it's also in the cabbage family. And when I was doing a little research on the stuff, because this is stuff that I eat on a regular basis, but I just wanted to see if there was any information I didn't know about, you can actually eat the leaves sauteed, or I had never tried it, but I had always just discarded, and you can also eat the stem. So I will have to try that and maybe add that to my giant stir fry here, because I have all these vegetables I bought for this live, so I got to do something with them. Okay, so kohlrabi, you want to cut off all the stems and the leaves, but we're going to save these for something else later. And you need to peel off. You can use a vegetable peeler, or if you are adept with a small knife, you can just peel off. You'll notice there's a really hard outer peel that you need to get off. And it has like a sweet flavor. It's sort of reminiscent to a turnip, but it has, I like the texture better if you're eating it raw. And so it's also, if you want to snack on something or add it to like a crudité platter, you can do that with the kohlrabi. You can saute it, you can bake it, you can cut it up really any kind of way you want. I love roasted vegetables, so I have roasted it before with other vegetables. I also like to shred it, and I'll shred a couple kohlrabi, I'll shred a carrot, and I'll shred a red pepper, and I'll saute it in a pan. Because everything is shredded and small, it cooks really quickly, and I will salt and pepper it, and then put some grated Parmesan or Romano cheese, and it's really delicious. It's a really delicious side dish. So don't forget about kohlrabi. You can pretty much get it anywhere, but people just overlook it because they don't know what to do with it. So this is kohlrabi. Okay, what do we have left? I think the only thing we have left are mushrooms. And most of us are just familiar with maybe, well, we all know about button mushrooms, crimini mushrooms, which are the brown version of that. It's basically, crimini are the baby portobellos. Most of us know about portobellos. A lot of people don't like mushrooms, or they think they don't like mushrooms because they've only had the button mushrooms, and they've probably been overcooked and they're slimy. But there's so many varieties of mushrooms, and I love going to the Asian market because they have so many varieties. There's oyster and inaki and king mushrooms, and these are maitake and shiitake. I love them all. So mushrooms are great. They have a lot of phytonutrients and cancer preventing chemicals in them. And you'll probably you've probably noticed that there are a lot of supplements out there that have mushrooms and mushroom complexes in them, because mushrooms are so powerful from a nutritional standpoint. So don't forget about these weird mushrooms. So you can chop them up and saute them with garlic. You can add them to stir fries. You can put them in soups. And some of these funky mushrooms actually hold up longer in soups than like the white mushrooms tend to break down and get mushy quickly. And yeah, that is it. So that is 8 weird vegetables. Here's a closer look at the maitake. 8 weird vegetables you should include in your diet. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will get back to you. My name is Michelle Sala. I'm an integrative health coach. I love to educate people about what's healthy, delicious, and great for longevity. Thanks for joining me this Thursday. Have a great day. Bye.